Welcome back to the First Word Podcast. I am your host, E. Reap. Hey, today is episode 3. Definitely seeing some slow and steady growth, but slow motion is always better than no motion. Hey, shout out to the community. Y'all really been supporting me over the past few weeks. Surprisingly, I didn't think it was gonna happen this fast, but y'all really buying, y'all really buying into the vision, and that's my main focus for this podcast was to build a community. Like I said, it's a podcast for the people by the people. And I've been seeing y'all clicking on that submit a topic link in my link tree as well, but y'all not participating. Trust me, it's all private. I'm not collecting your email. I'm not gonna send you any spam emails. I don't have time for that, and I don't like that myself. I'm gonna be the only person that see your response until I decide to, create an episode geared towards it, and I'm gonna shout you out as always. You know what I'm saying? But don't worry, nobody's gonna see your stuff. But if you don't feel comfortable using the link, just drop your topic down below in the comments. Across all platforms, First Word Pod, I got y'all. So speaking of that, today's episode is brought to you by the community. So this is what I've been, trying to push out. I want y'all to tell me what you want to hear on the podcast. I don't want to tell you what you want to hear. That makes sense. Like, y'all can let me know. It's your podcast. It's really, I want it to be interactive. So today's episode is brought to you by my dog, Sean P., aka the sneaker teacher with 2 E's. Don't forget the 2 E's. But yeah, he's doing this thing on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I know on TikTok for sure. He's over 20,000 followers. He had to redo his channel because TikTok was tripping. So he's back up to 20,000 and it's steady climbing. So yeah, shout out to the sneaker teacher. But his topic was, who is to blame for the resale culture? Now that is definitely a 3-part. Think about 3-part answer. There's plenty of blame to go around for sure. Plenty of blame. So yeah, off rip, reselling is basically when you purchase something for a particular price, and then you either go to a third-party market or however you choose to sell the shoe or sell the item again for whatever price you see fit. And reselling has been around since the beginning of time. Reselling is across all items. Like, it's not just sneakers. Everything is getting resold. Those Stanley Cups, I know people are going crazy for getting resold. What are those new joints? The little boo boos. I think they're getting resold now. Tickets for sure. Like, the resale market for tickets is outrageous now. So yeah, reselling is everywhere. And it once big money gets involved, everything kind of takes a turn. Cause like everybody that's in the sneaker community has resold before. Like maybe it's not to the extent of what it is now, but if you can get an extra pair, and you can flip it either for just a few extra dollars or maybe like as a favor down the line, like, hey man, I looked out on this release. I'm gonna need you for the next one or something. Resale wasn't really crazy at first. Like it was always there, but usually it's like box price plus love. Like give me $20, maybe 30 on top of that, like 50 at the most, from what I remember. Like everybody has different experiences, but when I was like dabbling in like the little resale or whatever, excuse me, it wasn't crazy. Like I was not taxing. There was no taxation without representation back then. It was like $20, $30 on top of the retail price, and you keep it moving. And now like StockX, Goat, and eBay, and what else? Flight Club. Flight Club was like the first resale joint that I recall being outrageous price wise. But now, all the quote unquote resellers, they go to StockX for their prices. Even though there's been a lot of controversy over the years with these third party markets, and it's like lawsuits and a lot of replicas, unauthorized authentics, whatever you want to call it. Like it's not the actual shoe. And I know people are saying, how can a shoe be fake? You put it on your feet, same materials, same factories, all that. But the community know there's a difference between a retail pair and a non-retail pair. But that's another story for another day. Stay on topic. So off rip, man, the first entity that should get blamed is definitely the companies, man, the sneaker companies. When there is a market, you have supply and demand, like simple. So when a shoe is limited or seen as exclusive, unattainable, then of course the demand goes up because the supply is limited. So when you have people, when you have a certain amount of people, going for the same item, everybody can't get it, of course. And a lot of people suffer from FOMO. So if they can't get it for retail, which for the most part is very tough these days, depending on the release. Like it's starting to get a little bit better now. When I say a little bit, like slightly. So you have the people that take advantage of that, and that's how you create this resale problem that we have today. Like $220 retail shoe is going for 400 plus, 500 plus, depending on the model and how limited they are. And it's like it really takes one person to set the market. It takes one person to say, I will pay whatever I have to pay to add this shoe to my collection. And that's like the trickle down effect. So as soon as it gets sold on whatever platform they use, or if they like a hand to hand joint person, that word of mouth gets around, like, I just sold this shoe for $700. Now that's the new going rate for that shoe. So everybody's gonna change their price to what the last sale was. So it's like it gets out of hand pretty fast, man. It's like I don't understand when that shift started. I want to say it had to be during 2020. We know what happened during 2020, and I feel like because there was such an abundance of free money, quote unquote. A lot of people were making more money with the unemployment boost than they would normally working. So it was like you have that extra income that you wouldn't normally have. So then people kind of started to, I guess, take on a new hobby. A lot of people started getting into the sneaker game around that time just because they had, the influx of cash that they normally wouldn't have. And, a lot of people, well, everything was shut down. So you're just on your phone or on the internet all day scrolling, and then sneaker Twitter, you get all the links and everything. So people were like more focused on what was coming out, what was hot. And of course, people were trying to, pick up side hustles. So a lot of resellers were born during that time. If you could just sit in your crib and try to like buy everything that's coming out with your extra bread or however you funded your business venture, excuse me, then, that's how a lot of the problems started. And people were just buying anything. And they really didn't care about the price, especially because, it was free money technically or whatever. So that was like the biggest cause for the shift, in my opinion. Like, these are all my opinions. I definitely want you to tap in the comment section on this video if you're watching it. If you're listening, the comment section on whatever platform you use, or my social medias, First Word Pod. You can tap in there as well. I want to hear your thoughts about it. Now, like I said, that's just what I think. And then you have the bots, man. It's definitely tough to compete against the bots now. So you have like your average resellers that, they might just have an eBay page, like a social media page, and they just buy locally, buy, sell, and trade locally, and, go from there. But your super resellers are the people that have those bots. And bots, it gets expensive because not only do you have to compete with like the security software on these websites, you have to compete with other bots, and the prices get crazy. So it's like you really have to have bread to be one of those super resellers. And then the bots, a lot of websites do not stand a chance, man. It's like they'll post a link on sneaker Twitter and it's like instantly sold out because the bots are already set up for the future. Like whenever this goes live, because they have the monitor set up, so it just like keeps refreshing and refreshing and refreshing. And whenever you get a random restock or anything like that, when the product goes live, it's over with. They already have the account information, the payments, the address for shipping is automatically calculated, and then it's gone. So it's like it's rough because a lot of people, I know a lot of people personally, they don't even try to get stuff for retail anymore. They just go straight to StockX, Go, or whatever, the local boutique, like a consignment shop or whatever, because they know it's just gonna be a waste of time for them to try on any like platform. It's just easier for them to just go ahead, set the money aside, and they just pay to play, and that adds to the problem. Like, which I understand it. Like, if you want the shoe, you're just gonna pay the money, get it out the way. There's the headache and the hassle is not worth it. But it's like that's just keeping like the resale business alive because you have the people that are just gonna go ahead and get it out the way. They want to get an early pair or whatever. So it's like instead of like battling or going up against the resale, they're just kind of folding and accepting their fate, which I definitely understand. The sneaker game isn't what it used to be. It's slowly but surely kind of getting back to the where you can catch a few the new releases sitting on the shelf. Sizing may not be ideal for people like me that wear 12, 12 and a half. Because usually that's like the first size gone now, since that's the money size for whatever reason. So the resellers are definitely capitalizing on us. The size like 11 and a half and up. Because if you look on GOAT or anything like that, the initial price might be cool, but as soon as you go to those 11 and a half, 12, 12 and a half, 13, the price is double. It never fails. I don't recall when that shift happened because I remember like going into the store and I could get a size 12. A lot of the times they were like on display because they were just sitting there so long. But now, release day, if I don't go and to get it right then and there, it's a wrap. Even online, when like shoes are sitting, those 12s are gone. You can have what, 8 through 10 and a half, maybe 8 through 11, 11 and a half and up. It's a wrap. You got like 10, maybe 15 minutes after the release to try to find a 12 or whatever. It's crazy, man. And then TikTok definitely caused a lot of the issues as well. I know the Black Cat 4s. I think that's when I really realized the influence that TikTok had, because there was no reason for that shoe to go for the price that it did. I want to say like 600-700 maybe at its peak. And I'm like, it's just an all black 4. Like, it's not even like a leather joint. It's a suede or nubuck, whatever the material was. And I don't even remember it like being that crazy when it first released. So when they retroed it, and I'm pretty sure that they were sitting for a minute. But for whatever reason, the TikTok influencers just made that shoe into the craziest drop of all time. Because once I seen it shoot up to like I said 600-700, I was like, what is going on? And that just changed the game forever. So like TikTok is another one. Is another. Well, I guess influencers in general. Man. Once you got a platform and you have people that watch you, and you say this shoe is the hot shoe, or this item is, you need to get this item, it creates that buzz, and that's how that price start to skyrocket. So TikTok definitely messed the game up for sneakers, in my opinion, especially with that Black Cat 4, dog. Like, that kind of reset the market for real. Because then you seen the change in everything. A lot of the stuff started to go crazy. And then with the retros, man, the last Dance documentary, every OG Jordan colorway just shot up. Because that was during a time where like Jordans were sitting. If y'all remember, like between 2017 to 2019 or whatever, you could get retros like on the shelf, depending on your area. Some areas the volume is not as big as the major markets. So of course, you get a select few stores that actually get the certain pairs, and you don't get a lot of them. So they'll sell out. So I know how it is, like different areas of regional or whatever. But like overall, during that time, if you wanted a retro, you could get it easily. A lot of the times they were going on sale. But once that last Dance documentary, because I fell for it too, I'm not going to lie. Because it's like seeing it, like reliving those moments, especially like the generation before us, well, before me, you know what I'm saying? They actually lived through the original Jordan releases, and then like the original retros, and they could see Mike rock the shoes. Like that's when social media wasn't around. The internet, like it wasn't what it is today. Like you didn't see the shoe a year in advance on a blog site or something. Like he debuted the new shoes on court, and then they released. So so for them to like relive those moments and like the shoes that he was wearing, it kind of like brought that nostalgia feel. Like, cause like I said, it hit me too, and I didn't remember MJ playing until like 97, 98 when I was like 6. 98 when I was that's when I remember like I remember the last shot and all that. So it's kind of like it created like a new love for the retro. So of course everybody was from the old heads down to like the younger generation that never actually like watched MJ play. So like the Jordans weren't really a thing until you have everybody locked into the Last Dance documentary and you're seeing everything like for the first time. For a lot of people that were seeing those games and those clips for the first time, and you seeing him rocking the certain retros, and like it was a different energy, man. So that kind of like every OG colorway just skyrocketed, and I was like, oh my god, obstacle in place for the people that wanted the shoes. It was so crazy. Like it was dope, but at the same time, it's like now it's everything is just outrageous. I don't know. It's just a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of blame to go around, and as much as we want to just blame the companies and the resellers themselves and the influencers and the people that just got to pay to play, you have to blame yourself as well. And I say that because the sneaker community is powerful, man. Like these companies wouldn't produce certain items, they wouldn't, collab with certain artists or creators or designers if it wasn't for the community. It's like, they listen to us even if they don't like outright give credit. Like if they're tapped in, or they have people that are tapped into social media, and they see what you're saying on Twitter, they see what you're saying on IG and TikTok, because a lot of the times after it's like a big conversation or like a big topic on Twitter. Somewhere down the line, something happens. So like a shoe comes out or a colorway. I think even recently, sneaker fetish. Shout out to Kari. He said that one of AJ Wilson's colorways should be like unapologetic or something. And then, as you've seen recently, a colorway drop that was titled "Unapologetic," and then he found his old tweet, and he quote tweeted like the timestamp and everything. So it was like they're tapped in, like for sure. So when people like really tap into the sneaker community and they see what like certain pairs or like shoes in general mean to the community, it kind of it's like they take advantage, I guess, quote unquote, because like they see like, dang, this shoe means this much to this group of people. I can see, if I can capitalize off of that, which essence of resale. That's kind of like what happens. They know a shoe is in high demand. They know that there's a group of people, there's a market for it that's going to pay a certain amount because they want to add that shoe to their collection or whatever, for whatever reason, sentimental or just it just looks good, and then they're going to set the price to whatever. And once you get into what the shoe means to you, or like why you're connected to that shoe or like drawn to that shoe, you're going to pay. I fell victim to the hype a few times, depending on what shoe it was. I think the last shoe that I actually paid resale for, definitely the Kobe PEs, the questions, the yellow toe. And I'm just so mad that they re-released them, and you can get them for like $70, bro. Like I wanted them when they first dropped. That initial release was outrageous. I did not expect anybody to care about a Reebok question at all. I know that it was still during the time where it was the Kobe tragedy and like everything Kobe related. It was just impossible to cop without like a plug or a bot or whatever. So that was like the last shoe that I paid more than I should have. But that was more of like an emotional, attachment. Like Kobe is my favorite player. I'm a Laker fan. We know what happened, and it was just like, dang, I really want these shoes. And I went back and forth a lot because I was like, I can't believe I'm about to pay this amount of money for a Reebok question. But without somebody like me attached to the shoe for whatever reason, that listing would never have been, they would have never created that listing because they would have said, nobody wants this shoe, so I'm not going to waste my time. So I have to take blame in that. And you watching this, you listening, you have to take blame for the resale game as well. There's different levels to blame, of course, but, I'm pretty sure there's been a time where you fell victim to the resale game because you really needed that shoe for whatever reason. Whether it was a gift, like maybe somebody close to you wanted something in particular, and they usually don't ask for anything. So I know as like me, if there's a shoe that somebody asks for, like close to me, and they like usually don't ask for anything or they don't wear shoes, but it's like one particular, shoe that they want or colorway, silhouette, whatever, I'm gonna try to make it happen. I'm gonna do my best to make it happen within reason. I'm not gonna pay you nothing too crazy, but then again, and when you're in a sneaker game, like what's really too crazy? Like for the average person, my background is crazy. So the price we pay for like retail is crazy. So it's like, that's all subjective. But like I said, within reason, you have to be able to justify your purchase at the end of the day. Whatever your threshold is your threshold. But we have to take blame. You, on the other side of that phone, other side of that screen. You have to take blame for what we're going through now in the resale market. It's crazy. I know you don't want to accept it, but you have to take blame. I'm sorry to say that. Oh man, this was a good topic. I'm not gonna lie, because like resale really is getting outrageous. Like across the board, it's like there's times that resale. It kind of like it's like a stock market. The prices go up and down. You never know what's going to happen. It's like the prices could fall or the prices could keep rising. So it's like, it's hard to gauge the market, man. It's just because it just takes one event, one picture, one video for the market to just switch. It just takes a celebrity or an athlete to rock something random. And now all of a sudden, everybody wants it. So if you have it, you're going to mark it up. Like, we know how it goes. And it kind of, I want to say it kind of like discourages new sneakerheads from, kind of entering the game just because, like, the resale game just makes the community. It's like a negative taste for the community. Like, every shoe isn't like that, of course, but it's like, depending on what your taste is, shoes is, there's a lot of shoes out there, a lot of different styles. A lot of different looks you can go for, and maybe you only like phone posits, so you might with phones you should definitely be able to get any colorway you want for the low. Or maybe you're into like Jordan 4s, which is like the new hot shoe, Jordan 12s, depending on the colorway, and depending on the price, you're like, dang, I don't even want to get into this the shoe game because the resellers just kind of turns you off to it. But just like with any hobby you have, man, there's going to be pros and cons for sure. There are going to be people that ruin it for everybody. Resellers are everywhere in every hobby you can think of. People are buying and selling goods for a marked up price so they can turn a profit. I don't believe that we're ever going to get away from resale because it's always been a part of the culture. It just wasn't where it is today. I don't know. I just feel like, sneakers and reselling go hand in hand because on one side, it's like, yeah, they're taking all the pairs and marking them up. But on the other side, it's like if you have regional exclusives, you need a reseller that has the resources or they have the connections to get that shoe that you normally wouldn't have been able to get anyway. So the reselling is cool then. Or if you go to like a sneaker convention or a sneaker show and you see all these booths with shoes that you never like seen in person, or you don't trust the third party websites to authenticate the shoe. So you have tons of resellers with their table set up, and you can actually hold the shoe. You can see the shoe in hand, which you normally may not have had access to. So it's like, reselling is cool then, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. You gotta take the good with the bad. You just have to use your own discretion when it comes to resale. Like for me, resale is the last resort always. Personally, because with all the restocks going on and all the avenues that you can pay for to get alerts and stuff, like you can like sneaker Twitter, Soul Links, Sneaker Shouts, Soul Retriever. I think they might have their own page on it, but it's free on Twitter. You can just follow the accounts. You can turn on the post notifications, so whenever they drop a link, sometimes it's a little late because they definitely want to push their information out to their paid members first, which I understand because that's the service you're paying for. You want to be able to get that information before everybody else to give yourself a better chance to cop that shoe. But yeah, like everything is restocking these days now. The volume or the frequency of the restock is definitely different for every pair. But unless you like really need it the right then and there, if you have patience, you're gonna get a delayed W. So far, I've been pretty lucky with the delayed W's. There's a lot of shoes that I really wanted, and I was like, I'm not gonna pay resale. I'm just gonna wait, and it's been working out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But with the amount of shoes that I have now in my collection, I'm a little more like, okay, I can get the next one. It's not really that deep, unless it's like something that I really want, like an OG. I think I'm getting more into like the OGs now. The 90s basketball shoes, like the original colorways. I think that's where I'm at now in my sneaker journey. So any OG colorway that I never had, or maybe I just needed a new fresh pair. Like that's my go-to these days. But yeah, man, just to summarize it once again, everybody is to blame. Everybody takes a part in this resale culture. The only way it'll change is if the companies continue to like overload, like flood the market. That's the only way that you can really like slow resale down. But there's always going to be exclusive drops. There's going to be this, there's going to be that. So you can't really stop it, but you definitely can slow it down. Because you see a lot of pairs now, depending on the colorway or the silhouette, that they're under retail before the actual release date, which is crazy to me. Because now it's like the stores or like the boutiques or like the company itself, there's some trickery going on. Because there's no way a $210 shoe is on the aftermarket early for less than what the retail price is. So are y'all taking a loss? Or no matter what price you post, you're making a profit? Like that leaves it's a lot of money left on the table. So it raises the question, what's really going on behind the scenes? I don't know. If y'all have any insight, please let me know. Cause are they stealing the shoes or what's going on? It's crazy. But yeah, definitely. I want to hear your take on this. I know a lot of people are affected by resale, one way or the other. So please let me know how you feel about this. And shout out to the sneaker teacher once again for this crazy topic. It was fun. So I look forward to more topic submissions in the future from the community. Like I said, I want this podcast to be interactive. So as you can see, I'm living what I'm talking about. Like this is my vision for this podcast. Let me know what y'all want to hear. Yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in to this joint, man. It's the First Word Podcast. Buy what you like and wear what you love. And remember, yesterday you said tomorrow. The time is now.